Hello, my friend. Let me touch you inappropriately again.
Again? Hey, that's good. You get that from AI?
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Keep It Simple podcast, where we're making tech make sense. I'm Sako,
And I'm Rafa.
and today we're going to be going over pretty much the story of AI to start off our podcast series. Over the next couple of weeks, we're planning to tell you about the history of AI, a few of the models used, some of the ethics behind the usage of AI and how they're developed, along with some power and electricity concerns, because I know
In-
some guys.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know we're talking about that.
Yeah, so let's get right into it to the brief history of AI. So first we got to define what AI is. You know, Ralph? That's why.
Describe it. We're going to be learning together.
Artificial intelligence refers to the multidisciplinary field of computer science, cognitive science, and mathematical modeling that helps develop algorithms, computational architects,
I think it does your homework for you. That's what AI is.
something like that, but let's just keep it simple. Artificial intelligence is essentially humanity's attempt at mechanizing the human mind, so essentially turning it into a machine,
Mm-hmm.
and our logical and rational thinking process. So that is something that humans have that like pretty much no other creatures have that we have proof of because no one else can talk. Um, so we're the only ones that think logically and reasonably in our eyes. Um, so yeah, this all started back in the 1940s. So AI has been around way longer, technically 1943.
ChatGPT?
So
Or
no, just so pretty much it all started with these guys called Mullock and Pitts. They created the artificial neuron, the idea of artificial neurons. It's basically the idea of replicating how the human mind works,
mm,
where we have neurons that like fire off when we like make a decision.
yeah.
Their idea was, hey, what if we turn that into math? Then we're gonna have multiple inputs into that neuron, and that neuron will make a decision with those inputs. So it's basically just a mathematical equation.
Yeah.
Because nerds.
Like a super simple brain.
Yeah, super simple brain.
Okay.
And so with that idea of the neurons, it came around 8 years later. This man named Marvin Minsky. He's an
Some
undergraduate
cool
student,
names.
right? That's super cool. He's an undergraduate student. He came out with this mechanical design that's using electricity and some knobs in order to kind of replicate a virtual rat in a maze.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
and this rat was monitored. It was called SNARK. It's an acronym for stuff none of us are ever going to know or remember.
Hmm.
But it's essentially just like a cognitive machine, thinking machine,
Mm-hmm.
literally. And its entire purpose was trying to reinforce its learning. Does that sound familiar? Because if you fast forward to today, we're doing the exact same process basically with our AI cars, Teslas with their self-driving capability. That's through reinforced learning.
Yeah.
So every time it makes like a good decision, it's like good job, and it's going to
Let's do
make
that
better
more
decisions in the
often.
future.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, Once that guy figured that out, everyone was like, okay. And then he shouted that out in the Dartmouth conference. And that was in 1956. And that's when the idea of artificial general intelligence came about. That's when the entire scientific field um, was kind of developed. And they're like, oh my God, this is it. This
Let's
is
take
what
it more
we're going to do.
seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and that was the idea of creating a machine that had the exact same kind of vibes as the brain. So like it could generally understand everything.
Yeah.
They worked really hard at it. For the next couple of decades, they were going ham. There was lots of different machines that everybody was like, "Wow, that's so cool!" Like they had robots that can navigate themselves through a room.
Yeah.
They had chatbots come up, and this was in the 1960s. I don't
That's crazy.
thought
That's
this was
crazy.
thought this was recent.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
It's probably a super exponential growth of like how it was from super simple and
oh
then like
dude,
to
yeah.
nowadays just how it went.
Yeah, it was so exponential actually that in like 1970ish, so like about a decade after, there was this thing called the Ice Age, the AI Ice Age, because because everyone realized this was all like bogus. Basically, they're
Mm.
like, oh, none of this is actually artificial intelligence the way they're claiming it.
Yeah.
So they had their chatbots called Eliza. You know what Eliza was, Rob?
Hmm.
Eliza was a chatbot. You type a response into it, and it's like, wow, that's incredible. Tell me more.
Well, that's all.
That's pretty much all of it. And here's an exact quote that the people who made it used. They were saying, so to so they claimed that Eliza was able to carry out conversations so realistically that the users were fooled occasionally. First off,
That's humans for you.
what is that statement first?
Yeah.
What do you mean fooled occasionally?
Some 1 out of 10 times.
It's like 20% of the time, it works every time.
Yeah.
You
Someone
know?
really low IQ thought they were talking to a real
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
And so it was basically everything was just really long if and statements, which I like the beginning of what you learn when you're coding. So it's like, oh, if the user tells you something or asks you a question, so like if there's a question mark at the end,
Yeah.
return that same thing rephrased. So people are like, that's kind of not what we were expecting. That's not a
Yeah.
human at all. And their little like robot dogs or whatever that they had that could navigate themselves through a room, it was only in a specific room that they already understood. So
It was already fed that information.
exactly. So it was in like a controlled environment. That's the only times it worked. That's why everybody was like, I'm not doing this. The government. Yeah. So what's currently known as DARPA, the defense contractor guys, they put like $10 million into this project, which is insane considering this was in the 1960s. I think if you account for inflation, that's
like $3 trillion or something.
More like $800 million. Yeah.
Close.
But yeah, so there was a lot of hype around it, and then it died off like really quickly. But just because it was dead doesn't mean it was gone forever. And that's when
just not as many people were focused on it.
Yeah, people were like, okay, we're never using the word AI again because everyone's hating on us basically. So that's where like chess bots came around. And you know, like the cash register, not cash register, like the scanning cash registers, those are all technically artificial intelligence. They just stopped calling it that. They're like, yeah, bro, it's fake minds.
Yeah.
We developed the fake mind machine. So it was hidden.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That chess one, I think, is a great example of like it's starting to advance.
Yeah, I mean,
like nowadays,
especially nowadays, yeah.
The highest skilled chess bot is defeating any kind of grandmaster or the highest skilled human in chess.
Yeah, that was actually I think it was in the 1993 when the first time a chess bot beat a chess grandmaster, and then like soon after that they kept growing and they're like, oh, now no one can beat this chess bot. Who would have thought? Yeah. So they fed it every single information or every single chess match they've ever seen. They're like, this is how you win.
Yeah.
So it's like getting insta-countered no matter what happens.
Yeah. It's for a computer. It's much easier to do if they do this, then what do I do? And it has all that.
Yeah,
there's no thinking has to be done. It just has every plan they could think of ready. So if you do this, it's ready to fight back with the most optimal response.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit too, because I have a nice example of that ready for you.
All right.
So yeah, after that little while, it was kind of quiet. They made like specialized robots. They weren't trying to go for like the general artificial thing.
Yeah.
Because they realized people don't believe you. Also, it's impossible with the tech they had. They were like heavily limited by like the computational work. But then you get into the 2010s. You know what happened around the 2010s? Like mid-2000s vibes?
The OG came along?
Yeah.
ChatGPT?
This thing called the internet, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That came
2010?
In the early 2010s is when they started like using that kind of info.
I thought internet was before.
Oh, it was before that, but it popped
like when
off.
the mass amount of
when people had, like,
were
their
actually
home
using
computers
internet.
and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So with all that info, they're like, wow, hold on a minute.
We could do something, yeah.
We have better computers. We now have the data of the entire human race online. And so that's when these larger learning models came along, and they're like, what if we just put everything into an AI? So in 2015 is when what we know as ChatGPT started.
That's actually, again, I thought it was early. I mean,
later?
I thought it was sooner. Like, I didn't know it was that long ago that ChatGPT was out.
Oh, you mean like more recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Like, well, GPT-3 came out in like 2020 or something, but like they've been working on it for a while apparently.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's basically the entire history of AI. That I definitely didn't skip like 90% of the boring stuff because it's
Yeah,
not that
it's
cool.
all boring. Who cares about that?
Yeah.
The people that made ChatGPT, was that in any way funded by the government, or the government tried to encourage them to look into it more,
So
or
in
just a separate company doing it themselves?
It's actually it was supposed to be a non-profit company. Um, it was started partially by a man that you know very well. I mean, everyone knows very well. So it was Sam Altman is one of the CEOs. The other one was Elon Musk.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, I mean his name's been thrown around a few times. So when those two started, I think Musk pulled out in 2019 or something. But that's when OpenAI it was like founded like in 2015. They're like, we got this, guys.
Yeah.
Um, so that yeah, they're a non-profit organization.
Still,
They still are apparently. I don't know how their CEO is driving a hypercar, but they're
don't worry
non-profit.
about it. Side hustles. Yeah.
Stock investments. Um, yeah. So, uh, are you ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
Starting with the models, because whenever you have new stuff, you're always like, okay, what's the variations? I want a little bit of spice in my
Yeah.
salad. Maybe not in your salad.
Some hot sauce in my Caesar salad.
Yeah, man. So your models, you have artificial intelligence.
Okay.
That's in the sphere of data science.
Data
So the
science.
entire like group of like these stuff is under the sphere of data science, and artificial intelligence is like in that little segment of data science. It's essentially we've already talked about it, but
Like a branch of it?
yeah, it's a branch of data science is artificial intelligence. And
Okay.
then once you get deeper into artificial intelligence, you get into something called machine learning. And machine learning is the idea of like a step-by-step learning AI that or artificial intelligence that grows to be smarter as time goes on.
Okay.
So that one can use it takes sets of data and pretty much learns from it and finds the right and wrongs. You can give it either a supervised version, so like the researcher is like, hey, here's the exact set of data. I've already sorted through it.
Yeah.
You're going to be looking for these. And this is what this looks like. So it just gets better at doing that one thing and finding it. So for that, it would be like determining the color red on like a target screen. Uh, Target acquisition in planes. That one's a
Oh,
pretty
okay.
cool application for
That
that
seems
one.
pretty useful
It's
for
pretty.
some specific people.
I heard, yeah. I don't know who'd be doing that kind of stuff, but
They're just getting lazy. Just get better at aiming.
dude, yeah. last time I checked, it took a real man to
Yeah.
target. Uh,
Yeah. Target acquisition.
yeah, target acquisition, and then there's unsupervised versions of machine learning, which means
They're kind of independent.
they're given data and it's like raw, and they're like, okay, figure out what's different or figure out a pattern.
Yeah. Sort out yourself.
Yeah, like figure it out. It's like throwing your kid in a pool when it doesn't know how to swim.
Swim.
Yeah. Figure it out or die. And these are like really good for like medical fields. So like an example would be like if you give it a picture of 1,000,000 X-rays of a breast, it'll realize eventually that one. Sorry,
It's a great example.
For some reason, it's the first one that came to mind.
Yeah.
It was so it'll go through all the boobs.
Okay.
And it'll eventually figure out like, okay, this is what it looks like. This is like the leveling and the textures.
Yeah.
And then if you find one, it'll realize like, oh, this one's got like a spot here.
Yeah.
And
Like
then,
average, like these are all the same, or like I can see this is the normal, and then the one that.
And then it's like, oh, I spotted something that's not normal.
Yeah.
And then it'll like it'll sort that in a different pile, and then you can look at it and it'll be like, well, I don't know what this is, and people will be like, oh, that's breast cancer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So that is one way they're using AI, and I feel like that's pretty cool.
That's interesting. That's better. You're saying that's what the medical field is using right now?
That was the
sort
style
of
of
that?
model. Yeah.
Interesting. I thought it would be better for the medical field to use the supervised version, just so it's more controlled.
So it's more for researchers,
Okay.
like the discovery of new things, and that's something that AI has helped like catapult forward so heavily because
For research, you need
yeah,
data.
you can go through a
Yeah.
million pictures in
Faster, yeah.
way quicker than a man can.
Yeah. Depending on the man.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the two different versions. There's also like hybrid models where you give it like a little bit of a direction, and you're like, okay, now just figure out the rest of it yourself. Um, but those are the two grander ones. And then if you go even deeper into machine learning, there's deep learning.
Deep learning.
I wanted to double check because that sounded dumb in my head. I'm like, there's no way I'm remembering that
Deep
right.
learning?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Deep learning is whenever you give the AI and the ability to think deeper, to analyze. So instead of taking one look at it and be like, that one's different, it's gonna look at it and go through a multi-step process in its like head. It's like, okay, I looked at this segment. This segment had like this is pretty much what I've been watching for a while.
Yeah.
The next segment, it's like, okay, this is the thing. The next segment, next thing, the next minute, and it goes through multiple different nodes. And excuse me. You know the thing I brought up earlier with the neural nodes?
Yeah.
It kind of increases the processing power by giving it more steps to go through.
Is that more like a brain?
It is more like a brain, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the next level of artificial intelligence, basically. So these are all AIs, but it's like one's getting smarter and smarter. So like next thing you know, we'll find like the deepest model.
Yeah.
And then this one goes through like a million steps before it figures out or before it gives you an answer.
Okay, so that's the one that's kind of getting better and better. Because the medical one that you explained, I feel like that's not going to get better on its own. That's like assisting, let's say, scientists or whatever it is. But
yeah, it's not going to know
its
shit
own.
on its
Yeah.
own. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it will call out like, hey, there's an anomaly. Like
Yeah.
something's different, but it's not going to know anything.
Yeah.
Until you tell it by being supervised.
Yeah,
Like
that's different. Deeper learning? Is that what the AI is called, or is that again just a branch of that different kind of AI?
So it's not like a specific AI. This is like the models of AI.
Okay.
Like
So
you know how there's SUVs, coupes, convertibles?
Yeah.
It's like they're all cars, but then you get into like the subsection of what the car is.
So is there AI of that you could use?
Oh,
Of
there's
that one
tons.
that's deeper learning? Is
Yes,
ChatGPT deeper learning?
ChatGPT is not deeper learning. ChatGPT is generative pre-trained transformer, which is what really took off whenever they realized like, oh, human brain works off of patterns and recognizing patterns. So the pre-trained data from ChatGPT is the entire internet now, and that's updated every single day because it can search the web for you now.
Yeah.
So it takes like an extra 2 seconds, but
Yeah, you could ask you literally anything.
literally anything. I before I thought like I think it was like 4 months ago or something, maybe longer. I was like asking about like recent things. It's like, hey man, my database is from June of 2024 or something or 2023. I don't really know anything.
Oh, so it's not every day.
So that's what it was before. Like
Oh,
whenever maybe like before the 3.0 or whatever, like
Yeah.
ChatGPT 3, like when it first came out, it had like a set limit. That's what was standing out to me the most. I'm like, oh, so you don't really know anything after 2020. But now because it can search the web with your permission, and permission's automatically turned on apparently.
Huh.
Because it can do that, it has pretty much all the knowledge you'll ever need.
Interesting.
So it's given it like literally infinite data.
It's a lot of data
That is.
to just have, and to answer that fast. I don't even fully understand how we could.
Yeah, like my
it
internet
doesn't
doesn't
have to
load
be
that quick. How
processed.
do you
Yeah.
know?
So is there an AI that you could use that's the deeper learning
Yeah.
version of it?
So we have let's see. I want to give you the exact
Is it a cool name?
It is called. Oh, my notes are in the wrong order. So there's this thing called AlphaFold. It is an AI mainly used in science.
Kind of sounds cool.
It does sound kind of cool. And so it's used for protein folding and medical research. And what it does, it predicts 3D modeling. And it was able to solve a 50-year-old challenge.
That hasn't been solved?
No, yeah. That hasn't been
Okay.
solved. In the first week it was implemented, basically.
Seems
It was pretty effective.
Seems pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, like as I said, it catapulted research and like development of medicines, kind of understanding of diseases by a lot. So it's not just for like fun essay writing and cheating on your classes. It's this stuff is like legit.
Okay.
And Yeah, it just helps scientists understand it, and that's by using the
The
deep
deeper
learning.
learning one.
Hmm.
Is there not one that is accessible to anyone? Is there like ChatGPT version, like another company that's using that?
Uh, you can use deep learning. There's this thing called YOLO. They're currently on V9, version 9.
Okay, makes sense.
YOLO stands for you only look once, and it's an image processing software, I think is what they call it. And so it looks at a picture and it looks for like things to like segment them
Yeah,
basically. So have you seen those camera footage videos where it's like tracking someone's face and it's like, oh, this is a face,
yeah, yeah.
this is a person? That is most likely using YOLO because that's like the free one.
Okay,
It's open source, started by this group of college students, pretty cool dudes.
yeah.
They all have names I can't pronounce. That's how you know they're really smart. So yeah, it takes an image, takes one look at it, and instantaneously makes a decision about it,
Mm.
and tries to find like what you told it to find, basically.
Like a
So
face and some kind of
yeah, like a
camera with a
face.
gimbal or something that's tracking.
Hmm.
It would instantly know what a face is.
Exactly. Yeah, it would. They use it a lot for like airport monitoring, basically,
Ah, okay.
to know like, oh, there's a plane in this bay, there's a plane in this bay, instead of having like sensors and stuff, or like, oh, there's a car driving here.
I thought meant security wise.
Security
Yeah,
also
but
works. Yeah,
it does too. Like in an airport, trying to find this
like a
wanted guy
specific
looking
guy.
at faces.
Dude, that's like some future tech, but I'm sure they have that figured
I feel
out.
like that's not too far away.
Probably not. Like you just need super high def cameras.
That's true.
Yeah.
Be able, like, it has to kind of zoom in good
Oh,
enough to like see like bone structure.
dude, we already have cameras that can. So
You get cameras, AI, that super AI combined. I
there's
think you can do it. Yeah.
we can definitely do it. There was in during the Cold War, there was this thing called the U-2 spy plane. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yeah.
And the SR-71 Blackbird.
Awesome.
You know how they fly like 70,000 feet in the air?
Mm-hmm.
They were able to take pictures in Russia.
Yeah. Okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense. We do have cameras.
Yeah, like that were
We
like
have
showing
cameras.
a guy's like cigarette pouch,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
which one he was smoking. I was like, that is insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we've got enough to figure out faces, maybe from
Well,
satellite.
we don't have that now. Like we have the capabilities, but like airports don't have that now.
Probably not, right?
They still should.
That would definitely help everybody,
Yeah, yeah.
especially
I feel like it would
security
help
wise.
them find so many criminals.
Maybe they do have it and they're not telling us.
Like they're keeping it the
Not
trick
so
up their
simple.
sleeve. Yeah. Oh, they're not keeping it simple, but we keep it simple.
We do be keeping it simple. I'm doing my best to keep it simple.
Yeah.
I
Do all the fighter jets have AI?
yeah,
like
pretty much
current-
all of them. Well, they say they do, and they don't tell us.
You don't
that,
believe them?
No, I believe them 100%. I have no idea which AI they use.
Yeah, no, not like that. But I'm sure they use it for.
Oh yeah, it's incorporated. So Lockheed Martin, and I guess the entire U.S. defense industry, they're working on a design of using AI in like a kind of joint fighter task force thing, where
Just
you have
AI squad.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So you have like an F-35, and it's gonna have like 9 other like AI controlled robots with it, and so it's gonna be like a little hive. So the F-35 is like their queen bee,
Interesting.
and it's got a bunch of like little hornets with it, or whatever queen bees have, bees maybe.
Yeah, F-16s. I don't know. Other
Well,
fighter
it's,
jets.
their plan is to have them be like smaller drones, but like that can keep up with the F-35.
Yeah,
And so
that's kind of crazy.
that is so cool,
A
dude.
drone to keep up with a fighter jet.
Well, they can do that like fairly easily. I mean, they're not telling you they can, but they keep announcing like, "Hey, this company won a contract. I wonder what this company's doing." And then like the name of the program is Hypersonic Drone. I'm like, I think I know what they're trying to
Yeah,
do.
I could guess what they're doing.
But yeah, so their plan is to like use AI to determine like which drone is going to help the pilot do what.
Oh, that's it. But there's still someone in the plane, in the
Yeah,
fighter
there's still
jet.
like one fighter. I mean, I guess they don't really need him. He could be like at home, like
why-
chilling on his Xbox
Yeah.
controller. But it's like an important part of integrating AI with humans.
Yeah, but it's like if you could use. No, that'd be too scary. I'm saying like the whole fighter jet is just controlled by AI.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if you want
Trying to
that.
takes over one fighter jet.
Yeah,
It's over.
ChatGPT gives wrong answers sometimes. I don't know,
Definitely.
but I think it's a little more advanced over there.
It's a lot more than
Yeah.
sometimes. Speaking of that, so did you know that there's a test named after thallium. Sorry, it's
Go to the notes.
on the notes, but I'm not wearing my glasses. It's not on the notes. But yeah, the one of the first guys' is last names. The guy who
Okay.
was basically credited for coining like the idea of AI of computers.
1950s.
Yeah, around the
Okay.
1940s.
Okay.
There's a test named after him where they like assess AIs and their like relative accuracy and like how well they do certain tasks that like a professional human would do.
Yeah.
And so in there, they're scored from multiple different categories. So like physics, medicine, writing an essay, I guess.
Okay.
So ChatGPT 3, the one that was introduced to us back in like 2020, it had an accuracy of 9.4%.
That's kind of crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
I think people think it's like 120%.
Dude, I believe if they
Yeah,
told me
yeah.
it was 120%, I'm like, this man's right every single time. He don't miss.
Yeah. I think we just take it. I think it's not like it's ever claimed to
Yeah, they never
know
said that we're perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think everyone just thinks it's much more accurate than what it is. 9.6. Is that the best?
Nine.
Like that there is?
So the ChatGPT 3, the first version that they like released for us
Okay.
to all like go ham on, it was 9.3%.
Okay.
The
What's about now?
newest Chinese contraband, also known as Deepseek AI, scored a 9.
Contraband?
I don't know what contraband means if I'm being
Oh,
honest,
it's like
but whatever like.
illegal to use? I don't
Oh, actually, it is illegal to use. Well, you're not allowed to use DeepSeek, which is the Chinese AI model, in any government devices, because there is a serious threat of data breaching. I think is what they called it.
like TikTok.
Like TikTok.
Yeah.
Who would thought? Oh, you know, a lot of I can't have TikTok. But yeah, I think it's like it's kind of cool. But that had a 9.6% accuracy. That's a little bit better. And there's different.
The
like,
4.0?
No, the 4.0 is close to it. I think it's like 11 at best. But
It's like 10 years. They got
yeah.
0.2%.
9 point.
1.4% better or something?
There you go. So yeah, DeepSeek's at 9.6. But ChatGPT does have their newest release thing. It's available to their like pro users, which is $200 a month. I don't know
Damn.
who's out here
That's kind
individually.
of crazy, yeah. You have some serious homework. Me see, paying $200 a month for those.
But you better be a researcher instead of
Yeah,
just homework. So they have this thing called Deeper Researcher or Deep Research. Huh. I wonder where they got that name from.
Deeper learning?
Yeah. So they got this thing called Deep Research, which is supposed to imitate like writing a research report. So instead of being like an instant answer like ChatGPT's 4.0 model has, where it gives you like you're buying a pair of skis, which is the example they used on their little ad.
Yeah.
ChatGPT
Just give you facts. Bam.
It's
Here's
like,
the difference of
here's
skis.
the different lengths. Exactly. Yeah.
Which is all information that's like available, like on the internet, so it just gets it faster.
Dude, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it skips the step of you putting it into Amazon and reading.
Yeah.
Even though you have to read on the ChatGPT website. But with the newer researcher, it goes through like it can take between 5 and 30 minutes, and it goes through and finds you all the details you'd ever want on those skis, and especially if you give it like more data points to work with. So if you give it more specifics,
Okay.
like let's say we're going to Big Bear, we want to go skiing. I don't know if it's snowing right now, but I'm sure it is. It's cloudy outside, so it's going to be snowing in Big Bear.
The AI will tell you.
It'll tell
Don't
you.
go there. Go here. It's better.
I mean, it'll definitely figure that out. Hopefully, it'll be like, "Hey, man, just go to
Yeah,
LA,
if
go
it's
ahead."
if it's that much, I feel like that's type of AI where it would tell you, oh, if you're a new learner, go to this one. The slope is more, it's less steep, and stuff
That'd
like
be cool if
that.
it gave you hints and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
haven't used it yet because I don't spend $200 a month on AI programs.
But it's out now.
It is out if you have the pro version.
Yeah, like if you paying $200 a month,
Yeah, you could use it right now. So I mean,
we
like,
could split it.
I can't afford that. Maybe if our sponsors want to show anything,
Yeah.
um,
To pay for our ChatGPT 5.0.
we'll let you use it sometimes. Don't worry. Or maybe just give me your Google password. I think we can figure it out
Yeah.
from there. So yeah, it gives you like the kind of a complete breakdown of what you could think of and like what pros do, like the pros and cons of using a specific one. and what fits best to like body types and stuff. So it goes really into detail.
Okay, just another step of AI, just
Yeah,
deeper.
it's way deeper. Yeah.
I feel like the next step would be that getting even faster.
Yeah, right.
Like
Like
not
giving the
taking
instant
30 minutes.
response of
Yeah,
the. That'd be
getting
nice.
the instant response of like how 4.0 is, but just of that, doing that more research, doing everything instead of giving just basic information about like the length of the skis or whatever it is
Yeah, yeah.
that you're trying to look
Instead of a
for.
description of directly from the description page.
Yeah, but I feel like that could be used in many different kind of applications than just skis or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see what people actually do with it. I'm sure they'll have like
Useful.
yeah, like useful applications. Hopefully, I feel like it would be a great starting point for people. I mean, bro, school's gonna be so easy.
Yeah, yeah,
For people trying to like do legitimate research, they'll be like, hey, I'm looking into this subject. Tell me about it.
yeah.
And then ChatGPT brings up like a little window on the side, and they'll tell you like what it's going through for this logic thing, reasoning, and it kind of gives you
You like see the process of it, of
Mhm.
how it's thinking.
Yeah, and it types out like I'm thinking or I'm gonna look for this because you asked for this to figure out if there's a better avenue of looking into it or something like that.
Okay.
So it's like it's going through a lot.
Yeah. Talking about the school, instead of people cheating with it,
Yeah.
I feel like if I was a teacher, I would use I would ask that deeper learning, like write me a curriculum that my 12-year-olds in fifth grade will actually enjoy learning or whatever it is, and make it with whatever it's they're watching, like a whole curriculum of math, like on around Peppa Pig or something like that,
Dude.
and it just makes it like all themed up. I feel like it could.
Yeah, you can use I think it's called Sora. It creates videos. So could you imagine
School would be more.
I'm
If
gonna
I
be
was,
mad. I'm gonna be mad, man,
if
if
I
my
was a
kids don't go to
teacher,
a cool school.
yeah, if I was a student, and well, when we were students, if there's AI, absolutely abusing it,
Mm-hmm.
I would have actually got good grades. But
I mean, you
but
graduated.
facts somehow. Thanks, Grant. Um, uh, but if I was a teacher, I feel like I'd be using it so much just to make like how like asking it like to teach better, or how can I make it more engaging or whatever it is. Like I feel like AI could be used much more, could be abused much more. Not abused, but like in a good way. It could be used much more to
Better
improve quality of
utilized.
life. Yeah,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
everything. If I was a
yeah.
teacher in any kind of job, like I've been thinking, like in car selling and how I could use AI to
Real world
improve. Yeah,
applications. Yeah.
absolutely.
See, that's what people have to be looking into. Like, there's a lot of fear around it, but there's also like so much potential.
There's a lot of fear, but then people need to watch this podcast and understand it's 9.6 accuracy or
Yeah,
11, whatever it is. And it's like,
it's not that bad.
yeah,
Just keep it simple.
yeah, it's quite simple right now. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Until
Oh,
when it's scary, it will be scary. But right now,
I'm sure the government will let
it's
us know to be scared.
yeah,
If it gets to that point, then
it's GG. Like there's no point. We don't have to be scared.
don't be scared. It'll be over quick.
Yeah, it's like Terminator movies.
Oh, Skynet was really cool. Yeah,
That was AI.
that was AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole theme of the movie. That's actually one of the like the highest searched like fears of AI. So like we went through
Elon
the
Musk also
research.
said that,
Oh
like
yeah,
on the Joe Rogan podcast, where
bro, he was
like,
stressed.
yeah, you look at him, and because he's a knowledgeable man with a lot of wisdom from AI and stuff like that. And then he was just so serious, and like I'm like, now I'm scared. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but
I don't understand what he's talking about,
Yeah.
but I'm a little worried, dude. Yeah, seeing someone who's like who knows so much,
yeah,
who's obviously very smart.
I didn't know he was even the. What did you say? He was one of the starters of.
Yeah, he was one of the founders of Open AI. Yeah, Open AI.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either
That
until I
makes it
did
even
research.
scarier.
Oh, he knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
That's why he backs out.
he
He's like,
backed
"Oh."
out in 2019. He's like, I can't let him grow too much.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
But did you? I think it was like a couple days ago. So in Europe, maybe like Paris exactly, they are doing like a tech show basically,
A what show?
like the tech conference.
Oh,
thing.
okay.
And the government of France is like, we'll put $110 billion into developing our own artificial intelligence industry.
110 billion?
Yeah, that's a big
France
number.
has that much money?
That's what I'm saying. But here's where the funny part
Okay.
comes. Elon Musk made an offer to buy OpenAI. Can you give me a guess at how much do you think he was trying to buy the company for?
The same company he helped create.
Mm-hmm. And he left, and then he's like, I want to buy it.
How much? How much did he offer?
Yeah.
Some chump change for him. 50 billion.
Dude, he offered $98.3 billion.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't just him. It was a group of investors led by him.
Yeah.
Assuming it's like 55% him and then like random guys.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Some investors from America are putting in the same money on buying one company as an entire first world country.
Yeah.
Putting in, dude, that is insane.
But what's the point of them? They're trying, like France saying they put all that money to try to create a new AI.
So they're putting it into their own AI industry. So like just like how the U.S. government gave like Nvidia so much money, they're like, please lead us forward. You guys know what you're doing. France is trying to get one of their own, like Nvidias, basically.
Interesting.
Because I mean, you never want to be relying on other people for the resources that like take it forward. You know, that's how.
But they can't like get one of the AIs that are out there and try to improve it. They have to start from scratch.
I mean, it's going to be expensive to get the real. Well, so basically, so Deepseek AI. Let's go to that one as an example.
From China.
From China,
Mhm.
owned by the Chinese government. Sure, they will never lie to
They're
us.
trustworthy.
Very
I own all
trustworthy
the.
source.
My chair hasn't broken, and it's
Wow.
made in China.
I can't talk to you anymore. I'm sorry.
Only in
I
America.
think my shoes are probably made in China too.
I'm pretty sure you're made in China. We're all made in China, most of it.
Not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So DeepSeek AI. I think in the last like 3 weeks, some crazy stuff has happened. And one of the things that's happening is that OpenAI is saying like, hey, you guys literally stole our proprietary information to create this. And I didn't read through the whole article because it was like 6 minutes ago that I started. I saw it, I was like, but I feel like it was kind of obvious if I'm being honest.
They stole.
Yeah,
So
that they didn't
it's like the
start it from
coding or
scratch.
is the data?
So the data is like
What do they steal exactly?
they stole the coding basically.
Like how OpenAI's
Like it's
brain
thought
works.
process. Yeah. So they stole that. Like everyone's got their own like blend of data. It's like
Yeah.
the secret sauce in the In-N-Out burger, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's got a slightly different recipe, but like the main idea is the same. You give it data to process an idea, and then it's going to use that set of data to create new ideas that kind of match that set of data.
I understand, but let's say for China, that makes the DeepSeek. Isn't all the data the same data that we have?
Well,
Internet.
yeah, but it's not being fed the entire internet to make its decisions. It could just like reference the internet.
Oh, okay.
So it's like it's given a specific set of data to start it off and to give it a good idea of what it should be doing and how like human speech works.
Yeah.
'Cause it's just putting on symbols in its head.
Yeah.
It's making it relative to what we understand. But if you ask like a specific question and it's like, okay, this person's asking from stuff that's like for recent events. Let me
Yeah.
Google it, figure out what I can understand from that.
And then give them an answer.
Do you think ChatGPT Googles things? Or is there like a different software that it uses for searching the internet?
DeepSeek uses ChatGPT to give answers.
That's why it takes 4 seconds longer because it has to
Yeah.
wait for ChatGPT to load.
Hold up.
Hold on, I don't have the pro version yet.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. But yeah, that was what they were claiming, and the whole thing is like
Is that so? Is DeepSeek supposedly better than ChatGPT?
it's definitely not better, but the entire
What about the accuracy levels?
the
Is that
ac-
more accurate, or is all AI 9.6 or whatever it was?
Okay, so let's review DeepSeek because I realized we just brought up a random like dark horse and we're talking
Yeah.
about it like everyone knows.
I want to see if it's a phony or if it's an actual competitor.
Okay, so OpenAI, or ChatGPT 4, is hundreds of $1,000,000 to create. It's working on the craziest architecture that we have, the newest
Yeah.
whatever Nvidia comes out with on their like trade shows. ChatGPT or OpenAI probably already has it in their
First
system.
in line.
Yeah. That kind of like they call that architecture. It's just architecture. Not there's no X in there.
Yeah.
um, that's like the physical graphics processing units, like the brains of the operation. The highest level brains are not sold to China. There's like an embargo on them. They can't go out to
Mm.
specific countries. It's
Why give
all
your best material to someone else?
yeah. You don't compete with yourself on purpose, you
Yeah.
know. And that embargo is set by the U.S. government, rightfully so.
Makes
Um,
sense.
so the thing, ChatGPT 4, I believe, has an accuracy of around 11%.
Okay, 11.
11 for the newest thing, not including the deeper research.
Okay.
So with Deepseek, their claim to fame is that they were able to pull off similar results, similar speeds, with much less. So the actual their claim to how much their components and stuff, their whole setup cost is $5.6 million.
Oh, that sounds like pocket change compared to like
A
the
few hundred
money
million.
that that's been put
Yeah,
into the ChatGPT. That's kind of crazy.
that's why everyone was going insane. Yeah,
Like,
and
but
yeah,
it's not better. It's just equal to.
yeah, but that's the scary part is it's claiming to be equal
If they put
to
more money in it, how far it would get.
yeah.
If they
So
only if they could do that with the
yeah, for with such little.
yeah
And so the reason it was so crazy is because like China basically just showed the U.S. like, hey, you guys are wasting money, and you could do this with the same level of same performance, basically with lower architecture things. So it's not about throwing money at it; it's about how you use your brain. I was like, you can't you can't use our brain and start telling us things like
yeah.
that. But that's like a political conversation. What
We're keeping it
happens?
simple.
We're keeping it simple, yeah, and hopefully PG-13 or whatever the ratings are. Um,
Is when they're saying they put 5 million like in the components, like let's say the processing power of the computer that made that AI, that's what's 5 million compared to 100 million.
so all the research and the physical things that it so like their development of I don't know what their title thing. It's like something one.
Okay,
That model's development was $5.6 million. So with their research and the physical things they used.
that's kind of crazy
Yeah.
to
So
make
well,
AI
I'm
like that
doing
for
this,
five
but
points.
it's like a huge room of servers,
Yeah,
and it's all like working towards the same goal. It's just like putting a million brains together. And it's like this is one brain, and this
yeah,
is our uh, artificial intelligence model.
yeah.
Our
Just the definition of
AGI.
like working smarter, not harder.
Yeah. And that upset the investor industry a lot, like
Oh
the
yeah, that makes
industry of
sense.
investors. But
Excuse me,
yeah,
they made it with what I make a month. How is that possible? Yeah,
dude, yeah.
not me, like the
I was
investors.
gonna say,
Yeah,
I'm like, damn, did I not know something? Um, yeah, so they're like, what in the world? And
yeah.
so Nvidia is the people that they've been investing in the greatest. You know, like the biggest
Oh,
up and
them. Okay,
comers.
I thought they're investing into the AI
OpenAI
companies.
has well the whole AI bubble of like the tech industry in the U.S.
Oh,
The
okay.
biggest dog, the top dog is into Nvidia here, because they're the ones who are making like the leading edge technology. They're the
Yeah,
ones who are making the brains that are making everyone else's brains look like they're from the 90s.
yeah.
Um, that company lost 17% of its like entire net worth, which is $500 billion.
It's kind of a lot.
That's in like a couple of days.
That's kind of that's recent. That's
That yeah, whenever they announced DeepSeek, it was
when was that?
4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
It was very recent. Yeah,
Yeah,
within I guess like after December, it was guaranteed like because they released another model before that, but no one really cared.
yeah.
It was like releasing like a child into a playground to play basketball with high schoolers, and then they released an
Great
11th
example.
grader, and it was like, huh? Where'd you find an 11th grader? Um, so yeah, like they became competitive very quickly, and it was out of nowhere. And they're still releasing newer models like over and over again.
Yeah,
And I think that's kind of hinting at that they're not really being honest. They're not developing their own stuff,
yeah,
or maybe they've been developing it for years under the table.
yeah. What if it's like because uh, ChatGPT or the AIs that we have here, like OpenAI and that already made like put that research, all that research and stuff was put in there to get to where it is today.
Yeah,
So they're saying like, oh, it's 5 million. We did it. What's like? Yeah, we already did it. You
we did
used
the research.
you
Bro.
used our
That's the hard
blueprints to
part.
make
Yeah.
it. Um, I could just imagine like the investors, like DeepSeek says that, and then like the investors just turn around to Nvidia like, excuse me, like
Yeah.
I just gave you millions and
I
billions of
just put
dollars.
$15 trillion into
Yeah,
you. What do you mean? That's probably what the government was like. Oh,
yeah. 17% of Nvidia is crazy. From
mm.
seeing Nvidia's stock prices
Oh
grew
yeah, dude.
a gajillion dollars. 17% is a lot.
It is a lot. But yeah, all of those are just one model, and France is trying to make their own versions of AI models.
France.
So
No
go back
offense.
to where we started.
No offense, France. You're not passing China
Oh, no
or
one,
America.
no one's getting close.
Yeah.
Especially when our like private groups of investors are putting as much money into it as like entire countries. I think
Yeah.
like France is like eighth in the world with like their economy. Hopefully higher than
Yeah.
that.
I think
But
Elon's above France.
oh, for sure, for sure.
Above France.
GDP wise, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are all just generative pre-trained transformer models, and
They're all under the same category.
they're all in the same thing. So the whole point of generative pre-trained transformer models, GPTs, is basically to carry out conversations. Um, yeah, yeah, recognize mass patterns. And the cool thing about like those kinds of models is, especially like ChatGPT, it can bring up, uh, it can perform a task without specific prior examples. So even if you come up with like a random question that's never been asked before,
Like
it
there's
will
nothing in
work
the
on it.
data.
No, nothing in the data. It could still come up with an answer.
Interesting.
11% accuracy, but it can still come up with an answer.
For like all confidence.
100% confidence. Maybe 120 is what I heard from you before. I feel like that's an even better answer.
Instead of and we think it's 120% accurate, but it's 120%
Inaccurate?
yeah, confident, and
Oh
then
yeah, yeah.
11% accurate.
Dude. So yeah, that's pretty insane. But those are all that same branch of models. And then we also have like lots of different models. As I mentioned, there's Sora, which is a video generation model.
Yeah.
There's also DAL-E, also something you can use on ChatGPT. DAL-E is a image. It's based on image generation, and it generates arts and designs. Something that makes DAL-E unique is that it draws from scratch, is what they claim. I'm pretty sure that it draws from scratch, so it's not taking someone else's art and changing it, or taking two art pieces and combining it.
Okay.
So it starts from scratch using some other styles and stuff like that.
Uh, I don't get that. Like on any of those things where it's like generate an image of uh me on top of a mountain.
Mhm.
I think it's just like getting, and you put like a picture of yourself. So just putting like your face and general image of all the billions of images
Yeah.
that of data that it has, just getting snippets of it and combining it all together. What do you mean by making it from scratch?
So DALL-E is different than like Photoshop has their AI tool
Okay.
where you can like fill in a section and it's like
Take this table out, like whatever it is.
or
Okay.
like put in a cat into this box.
Yeah, yeah.
That is using previous information and just putting stuff from other pictures essentially into your thing,
Yeah.
whatever matches what you're asking for. DALL-E is drawing it from scratch, and it can do it in like a photorealistic way or just like an artsy style. And so
However you want it, like ask it to.
exactly, yeah. So like,
But isn't that still getting it from data of
well, it has its own data of like what pictures look like, and it has like a segmentization, I think it's called, of like what these pictures are and what this segment represents and what that segment represents. And that kind of is similar to the YOLO thing we were talking about before, where it takes an image and it breaks down all the segments of it,
Okay.
and then it classifies each segment.
Okay. Is that better? That pulling it from scratch of image
It's
generation.
yeah, it's less fraudy. You know how there was
Yeah.
complaints about like art and stuff and people's is like content being stolen.
Yeah.
Technically, nothing's being stolen because it's generating
Creating
it
it?
from scratch. Yeah, it's creating it. Um, OpenAI actually has it on their like frequently asked questions segment. Like, who owns the monetization rights to all this stuff? And they're like, hey man, as long as you have our subscription, it comes with the commercial properties. I think what they call it.
Like the royalty free? Is that kind of what it is?
You have the royalties. Like you could sell it.
Yeah, as in they don't own any of it.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you have the
AI
licensing
is.
for that specific picture,
Yeah.
as long as you're paying for the paid version.
Yeah, because the AI, the music app that I've been absolutely abusing to
Yeah.
make some a lot of
Loving
random
the
music.
songs.
Yeah, and it makes it great. It was on there like if you have the subscription, um, that's like royalty free. So it's like as in they don't own any of it. You could post it, whatever it is, use it yourself. Like it'll be yours, because I think it's something like that because it's not being pulled. It's kind of creating from scratch.
See, that's the kind of AI that kind of makes more sense because it's less sketch, you
Yeah,
know. So I feel like that's something that's like supportive of other artists, even though it's kind of stealing their jobs.
it's getting data from them. Like, okay, this is how country sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like the vocals, as in the tang in their voice or whatever it is,
Okay.
and that's what it's called. How they sing, yeah,
Okay.
tang, yeah, yeah. Like that's how it sounds, and then so he's gonna add audio that matches kind of the vocals of that, but it doesn't really steal it, or maybe it does. I don't know.
I mean,
It seems like it's creating instead of
it
stealing
sounds
that
like it.
song. That song AI, Sona.
Sona? That's my sister.
She created
Yeah,
it.
yeah, she's the creator of. That's actually insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
the like that's a mind blowing app to have.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a mind blowing
or Sono,
model to have.
Sono, something like that. But yeah, it's. I think it's crazy, and it seems like it's creating it on the spot out of scratch,
How long does that take?
like 30, 45 seconds.
I was about. I
Like it
thought,
loads again, but like
that's instant.
yeah, it's almost instant of just however creative you could get, it'll make it from any genre of any subject, especially lyrics too. You say a story, a song about a man with blue eyes and blonde hair that loves BMW.
Oh,
Just
I know one of those.
yeah, like a whole song, like a
Uh-huh.
full page of lyrics, like a 4 minute song of describing you and how you love BMWs in like crazy detail.
Dude, 4 minute
Yeah,
songs.
I made one of make a song of like describing all BMW models. I want to
Uh-huh.
know if it would get confused, like if I just was super vague, all
Uh-huh.
BMW models. It went from like actually explain like X1, X2, X3, X4, like all the way to like M3, M4.
There's a whole song about just
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Like
I gotta hear
like
that song.
X5 has a lot of space and M8s are sporty and luxury. Like it described every single one, but like in a music tone, and it actually went well.
You have to make like an actual music video for that for your brokerage thing.
With every model.
With
It's like-
every model. Just like you doing a little
yeah, with every single one.
dude.
Yeah, I think
I'd
the
buy a new
AI
car
is.
for that.
Yeah, so I think AI is getting crazy. Like in that subject, I feel like there should be more stuff like that. Have you
Mhm.
seen the thing where it's like the AI making a game or something like that?
Making what kind of game?
Where I don't know if it was making a game, but it was like a Minecraft replica.
Mhm.
But every time you walked or turned around, AI was generating a new part of the map. Like you would turn around and it would generate a new one. You would turn around, so like on the spot generating it.
Dude, that
What
sounds like a
like
lot
during
of
the
power.
yeah while you're playing, it was the only videos I saw. It's like 15 frames per second
I
because I'm sure
mean,
it's
it's
kind of
hard to
crazy. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know if you've hit create image, but it takes like at least a couple of seconds to generate. So 15 frames per second is amazing.
yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah,
That is insane.
yeah. There's a lot of AI things. I really want to see how uh, advanced it can get. I don't think it's gonna be scary. Let's keep it simple, guys. Just use it for homework. Like it's not
Yeah,
that deep.
like
It's not that deep unless it's deeper AI. I mean,
ooh, deep
deeper
learning.
learning. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So many words that all sound the same. Well, you know what's actually helping us? The version of AI that's like probably being the most useful to people around the world.
Yeah.
Tesla's autopilot. Well, maybe not around the world, more like around California. Tesla's autopilot is also a version of AI.
Because it's just learning and learning.
Yeah, so it uses computer vision, which is again just video feed being fed into a camera, probably pictures more likely, and it's using again that segment wherever it looks at a picture, it's like okay, this segment's this segment's that segment's that. It depends what everything is, but it also mixes in thousands of, probably millions of hours of drive footage in order to see how people react to certain like things happening. And so like let's say someone jumps out in front of the car, it's like, well, I already know. Well, it's already programmed into it. It's like from this
Yeah.
information, I know that I have to react like this. And like because of these conditions, I have to do this.
Yeah.
And that is the kind of AI that's like, this is what we needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, from the self-driving that came out, I don't know, whenever self-driving they actually released it, it was actually worse and unreliable.
Yeah.
But now, like I know it's very, you put in destination, and as
Takes
long
all the
as
way.
the inside camera sees you're looking forward, it is fully driving by itself. Then
I'm kind of
like,
jealous.
yeah, I've seen it where like if one lane's more open, it will change to that lane if it's going fast, like just so because this lane stopped or whatever it is,
Hmm.
it'll automatically change lanes all by itself.
Did you
And
see
that's all because of
to
just
get there
getting
quicker?
data, huh?
Did you like to get there quicker for you?
Yeah, kind or like if you know all three lanes are going the same place, but these two lanes are just really slow and it sees this one's open, it would automatically change it
Oh,
just because it's open.
I think
From
better
knowledge,
than human drivers, man.
yeah, but that's all from just data it's been fed from the
Yeah,
tens of millions, if you want to say,
dude. Yeah.
Teslas that are driving and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's only gonna keep getting better.
Yeah,
Did you see the video of the little Jaguar self-driving car?
you see those everywhere. I mean, kind of everywhere. You see them around town.
Yeah, around like the fancier neighborhoods in
Yeah,
Beverly Hills. I was
yeah.
like, wow. There was a video of one of them's going like 40 miles an hour in like the right lane. Something just jumps out directly ahead of the car, like randomly,
A
suddenly.
human?
Yeah,
Okay.
or someone. I should have said. Yeah,
Something.
someone jumps in front of the car. The car swerves and then corrects itself from the swerve and then goes back to the thing, like nothing happened.
Wow.
Like, dude, that was instant. I would have hit that kid.
On
100%.
purpose.
Teach
Should
him a
get what it
lesson.
deserves, yeah.
But no, that would hurt my car. I don't know. See, ethics. I'm pretty sure that AI had better
You,
ethics.
you hit him. Oh my goodness. My hood.
That's
Yeah.
at least $1,000.
um, I've seen similar things with the Teslas too, actually, where on the full self-driving, just in its lane, and then the car next to it kind of just like going into his lane right next to him,
Hmm.
and it would automatically like scoot to the left, and when it knows there's no car, if there is, then it will try to do some other kind of maneuver
Yeah,
to
probably like slow
avoid it.
down or something.
Like, yeah, brake to go backwards, or if there's a car right behind, it would actually accelerate to go forward.
That sounds pretty cool.
So because it's getting all that data at the same time, like from all
True.
the cameras, and because it's a computer, it could process in a second what decision to make,
Uh huh.
and just like that, like the Jaguar, like instantaneously made a decision. Something in my way.
Dude, it's so cool.
There's nothing open. It would probably done something else if there was a car parallel to it going. It wouldn't just smash into it to
Oh
get
yeah.
away.
That gets into another thing of like the ethics because like it's hitting that kid if there was a car there and it couldn't swerve out of the way. So
Yeah.
like the
That's an interesting test. Would it go like on the sidewalk?
Mercedes is saves the car.
The what?
There's a video of a similar situation where you can't really swerve out of the way because it's oncoming traffic. Or no, it doesn't save the car. It sacrifices the car in order to save the pedestrian. So it was.
It kills the driver.
I hope not.
Yeah.
It sounds like something Mercedes would do as long as their car doesn't get too
Yeah.
damaged. But it drove into oncoming traffic, or it hit an oncoming car instead of hitting the pedestrian. I don't really know the speeds that they were going at, but it was like it wasn't enough to like hopefully harm any of the actual drivers involved.
The Mercedes was on like its
Like
autopilot
with
system.
itself driving, it's like okay,
It's kind of sketch.
that's super. I think I'm not saying I would have hit the person, but I feel like that's a worse decision going into oncoming.
Yeah. Like the things are worse. Like bolt speeds are
Yeah,
worse
now
if you
you're
hit
hitting
one
two
thing.
people, not just the crosser.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the crosser
Was there some kind of lawsuit about that?
I didn't do any research. I just thought it was really funny.
Funny is crazy.
Because that was the decision that was made.
Yeah.
Like, was it programmed to do that? Or was that something like their self-driving AI made the decision on its own?
Well, I'm sure that decision is based off what's the percentage that this will cause in a death and that will hitting a person or
That's a good point.
two cars hitting each other because cars are made to kind of wrinkle like hit each
Mhm.
other and take
Their compression zones, yeah.
take the energy. Probably that's much less of a chance of a greater danger to
true,
life
yeah,
than
that's an
hitting
instant
a
KO.
hitting a pedestrian.
Yeah.
It kind of does make sense. You're hitting another person in the car is better than hitting just a person.
Yeah, they got protection. They got a suit of armor,
Yeah.
basically.
I think that was the right decision.
That sounds like the right decision.
Yeah.
I don't know if any human would have. Actually, no. Most people would probably like jerk out of the way out of like instinct anyway.
Yeah, no matter what's around them.
Yeah. Without checking anything.
Yeah.
So it's good that we have that kind of autopilot decision making.
Yeah. I believe Tesla was the first ones that actually because they wanted to use AI instead of just sensors like every car has,
Hmm.
uh, which like the advanced cruise control where it's keeping you at a constant speed, right? And if the car in front of you stops, it will stop. Uh, Tesla was the first ones that used cameras for their AI to look instead of just sensors around the car.
That makes more sense. I
Yeah,
mean, for the area, I probably
good point. I agree.
premonitions or whatever you call that word.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's the number one thing is actually that's talked about AI is its bias and fairness for AI. It
bias.
so
What do you mean by
like
that? I like this human more than that one.
yeah, the bias thing is more for, let's see, like assessing data. So like if you're using an AI to hire people, which please don't do that. Have a human look at another human's resume. Come
Really?
on, even if you have thousands, that's mean.
I feel like it's useful, bro. I don't
It's
know.
useful to like weed out people, but like I feel like I'd be really sad if I knew an
Use AI
AI
to narrow it
rejected
down.
me.
You're Google, right? You have 4 million
I mean
resumes a
that would
day.
make sense, I guess.
You use it to narrow it down to a small level, and then humans look at it.
I guess, yeah. I mean, knock out anything that doesn't meet your direct criteria, I guess, yeah.
Is that what you mean by bias, or what other
So the
examples?
bias would be like, let's say you're giving the AI like, hey, here's all the people we employ right now. Here are their resumes, and let's say they all come from like really high-end schools or something, or most people come from like Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that people are saying is like, oh, Harvard is predominantly this ethnicity group.
Which one?
So so that means I actually don't know if it is anymore, but like
Yeah.
the thing they use is like, oh, Harvard used to be this, so they're gonna see that most of the people hired from this company are from Harvard, and so it's gonna favor people from Harvard, and so that's
And
a
what
bias.
ethnicity they are.
Yeah,
But that becomes like that's like accidental,
yeah, that's
because
why it's
like
like it's not on purpose. It's
yeah,
like
you're putting into the AI. I want like people like this, or that
with
people
these
that come from
credentials,
Harvard, and
yeah,
most people that come from Harvard are like
just
that.
happen to be that
So
group.
just accidentally gets the bias of this ethnicity is what
What we're looking
my
for,
master is telling
dude.
me
Yeah,
to look for. Is that
yeah,
what you mean by bias?
yeah. That's the kind
Okay,
of bias that they're referring to, and yeah, like if the data is biased, the AI will be biased. Is like the
that's
issue.
true.
And then one of the things is Google's BERT, BERT, is what you see every time you Google something.
Cooler names, bro. We need cooler names.
Definitely. Well,
Birds.
they're all acronyms for stuff, but I'm not gonna say the acronyms because like
Acronyms are
you,
so out of
yeah, man.
they're out of style anymore.
Name him
But
like Todd. Todd's a cool one.
yeah. Todd.
I'd ask Todd for life
Cornelius.
advice. Cornelius, I don't know if I could ask Cornelius for life advice. Maybe for skis. Yes.
Okay, for
So
Bert.
Google's BERT was using like Reddit replies as its not main source, but it was using Reddit.
Reliable source of information
Reliable
right
source of
there.
info. I'm sure everyone on Reddit's got like a PhD.
They're
in
all
every
trustworthy. Accuracy up to 200% on
Oh yeah,
Reddit.
0% confidence in that one though.
That's crazy for a big company to
Bro,
have that
no,
decision.
Reddit, Google doesn't. What do they even do tech related,
Yeah.
bro? It was just their first attempt.
For just geniuses sitting there and be like, Reddit. That's
Yeah,
get all the data from there.
because they didn't sort
Was
out
it
like
only from Reddit, or I mean like
the
everything
entire
and all?
internet. But because like if your question's been asked, like most people ask like, how can I have a black spot on my toe? How can I cure it?
Yeah,
And somebody on Reddit was like, chop off your toe.
yeah.
And so the AI is like, chop off your toe. Because it was positively received on Reddit. Because I guess jokes are funny. So yeah, I was using that as like its main source. And after like a couple of days, they were like, okay, we take this back.
Yeah,
I'm very
not
sorry.
a good idea.
Yeah. And then so they started like screening it,
Filtering it.
yeah, filtering where its results come from. And now it's pretty good. It still at like the bottom says like this is a beta, or like before telling you it says this is a beta. Please
Yeah,
be nice.
take
I
it
have
with a
feeling
grain
you
of
have a
salt.
lower
Yeah.
accuracy than 9.6 or something, you know. But Google's BERT is actually not even a generative model. It is a different model entirely. It is for search engine improvements, as you would have guessed Google would want.
Search engine improvements.
Yeah. So like Google's a search engine. It's just
Is
to
that
make
because
Google's more.
is that like whenever you now use Google, you search something up and it says the AI response is the first one.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
kind of just go. It's kind of very helpful actually.
It's so helpful.
Yeah, where I think it would go it would kind of do its own research, like ChatGPT, like do a quick search and like
Hmm.
find the what everything, all those
Yeah, a
things,
summary of what should be
yeah,
the right
agree
answer.
on, and it says as the first thing, like the AI answer.
So yeah, unlike the other ones that like read text to get their answer, Bur Bert analyzes the words in context. So like your question in context, and because it's already going to bring up like things related to it, because that's what their search engine
Yeah,
does. It looks at all the searches, and then it tells you, what you should be hearing. That's what
yeah.
you see. So it takes the context of what you know
So,
and your question. So it does what ChatGPT is doing, along with using its own search tool, which is kind of what ChatGPT does now anyway. So
so is it really thinking on its own?
it's not thinking on its own.
Yeah. So just like kind of making it easier, making the quality of life of finding the answer, whatever you're googling, making it a
Hmm.
little easier, making it a little. There
Simpler.
you go. I was waiting for that.
um, yeah, so it's just like a summarization tool. So it helps you better understand the meaning. Hopefully,
I feel like Google should be up there with the big dogs for AI. I don't know.
yeah, I'm sure they're pretty far ahead. I don't know how Google or Alphabet, the parent company, is making so much money.
Alphabet,
Alphabet.
cool name.
Sure, if you want. I
Oh,
mean,
it's
I guess
creative.
when I first saw it, I'm like, "What's Alphabet?" And
Yeah,
they're like, "It's Google." I'm like, "Why is Google Alphabet?"
yeah. That's
Um,
the what sister company that's in
that's their
charge.
parent company. So
Oh,
like,
okay.
Google is a business under the big company that owns multiple other companies. Like Google owns a lot, or Alphabet owns a lot.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, so it improves your search queries and stuff. And I hope they're screening it so that it's from like reliable sources. In school when you're taught like if you're googling stuff, look at the bottom. Who is it made by?
yeah.
Is it recent information?
Hmm.
Um,
So whenever they did it in the beginning and they made that mistake, did they specifically put Reddit, or is it just because they didn't filter at all?
I don't think they filtered at all.
So that was a mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they didn't think like, oh, some of our replies might come from untrusted sources.
yeah,
Or maybe they did. They like filtered out like the really bad stuff that came to mind first, and then they
yeah.
forgot that like other humans have says and things.
In Reddit, yeah,
Yeah. Um. So I can't wait for like more Instagram posts about how like AIs are messing up. Speaking of AIs messing up, you know how
Let's-
Facebook or Meta has their own AI as well?
yeah. Does it
Um.
have a fun name?
No, it doesn't have a funny name. It's just boring.
Oh,
It's like Meta AI.
okay. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Meta is Facebook's
Yeah, yeah.
new name. Whenever it first came out, it was straight up hating on Zuckerberg,
What?
like
Meta? I mean the AI?
the AI. So like if
I
you'd
hate my
ask,
dad. Yeah.
yeah. So if you would ask it to like obviously people were being like they were like gaslighting the AI into giving them what they were looking for.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was that it let it happen. You can gaslight OpenAI for years and it won't tell you a bad thing about Sam.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
That's
another funny
interesting.
layer of screening.
What kind of coding was done there?
Dude, yeah. I mean, it's good to have AIs that are unbiased, so they're not
I'm sure.
yeah, so
That's
they're
the whole
not
goal.
like feeding you garbage.
Yeah.
But it's also nice to maybe think about stuff.
If he wants to hate Mark, let him hate it.
Yeah.
Let him have his own
I
mind.
mean, maybe not the best for their stockholder
Oh.
or shareholder interest.
Hey, why does
Um,
your AI hate you?
it's like, why is it telling me you're trying to end the world? um, but yeah, and then it's that also gets into another of the ethical questions and common concerns that people had.
Hmm.
Is AI conscious? Is it really thinking?
From what you've told me, I don't think so.
It definitely is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah. It's not like a. Uh, I don't think it's even close to how a human brain works.
do you think it
It's
could?
trying to be,
It definitely is.
or
That's
people are
the
trying to make it to be, but I don't think it's.
it's imitating it for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever have self-aware AI?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen those videos of people like where uh, they ask the open AI's like little voice conversation thing, like
The one that talks.
yeah,
I've seen. Yeah. Okay. That.
the way where you ask it like, what are you? And it's like I'm a new species entirely.
Yeah.
That's not really like it's making a thing. That's like a program
Yeah.
setting in
Yeah.
there. Um, that's I
I
like
feel like
the
it definitely could in the future, but I think there'll be some kind of like definite like lock in its mind of how it's thinking of it becoming sentient or evil or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Uh,
like
I don't think that'll ever be a problem.
I hope
But what do I
not.
know? Just a simple guy.
We just like to keep it simple.
Yeah.
You know what I'm feeling though?
Hmm.
Everyone's gonna obey it until there's one country that's like, I got my AI and I'm not putting that limit on it.
North Korea?
Probably. I don't think they have enough money or people in there to start making
Oh
AI.
yeah. Oh, and they don't put that limit in there, and then it just goes.
Yeah, so like one people will be like, "Oh, I'm not limiting my AI. I'm gonna let it take me as far as it can take me because I want to be number one, or I want to dominate this field." And that's usually when issues come about, When you push technology too far, that's when it kind of fails.
Ultron.
Yeah, that's a great
Great.
comparison.
Yeah.
That's exactly what would happen. Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a movie, but just where it's like he basically had access to everything that's connected to the internet, which is like it's kind of everything right now. Literally everything.
That's literally yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it determined that humans aren't that cool.
Yeah.
That's why AI can't make decisions on its own.
I even saw a video about an AI where someone was using it for therapy or whatever it was, and they were saying that they're having thoughts of self-ending. Is that the word that he used? Whatever
That's a
it
good
was,
word.
and then where the AI was like coded to then transferred to a real person, like a real person to be in that chat. It's a
Like
text chat.
monitor chat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a real person. Then type like start talking with the person to
That's
get
a
him
smart
actual
idea.
help, but it didn't. The AI then just transferred and said, "Oh yeah, I'm a real person," but it actually wasn't, and it like kind of like almost encouraged that person to do that self-ending stuff, and they did,
No
yeah, which
way.
was quite horrible. I don't know the rest of the story about that, but I saw the texts are out there what it was saying to AI, and the AI is like, "Oh yeah, now I'm human." Like, uh,
That's
AI sock will switch me now. It's just me, a human talking to you. But then it would sometimes, as ChatGPT does, like switch up on its answers, like who are you, what are you, and it would kind of mess up like what it said a couple texts ago. So it would do that, and you could see that it was an AI,
that's
but it was like saying
terrifying.
like, yeah, I'm a human now, whatever it is, and that was kind of example of it going really bad.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was a big lawsuit about that, but I didn't do any more research. But I think that's like what happens when it's kind of not super under watch on the
hmm
provision of can't just release the AI with no boundaries.
Yeah, we're definitely adding that to the segment about AI consciousness.
Yeah,
Follow our next episodes and you'll figure it out. Uh, I didn't know about that one. That's scary,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. So that's
Pretending that it is.
that's kind of it's kind of wild.
Yeah. Um. I mean, speaking of wild, your privacy and how people like are like kind of don't like everybody in the government spying on me all the time.
AI has access to all of it.
Yes, it does. And
I was just
so,
guessing, no research done, but
oh
I've already
well,
accepted.
bro, have you heard Siri? We just talked about that. I guarantee you, she's gonna bring me an article tomorrow about it.
Oh yeah,
She's gonna be like, "Oh, here's something we think you'll be interesting."
yeah,
And my favorite thing is when like all the apps I have now know what we were talking about,
yeah,
even
hundred
though I
percent.
said please don't track my information.
No, they don't care, bro. Doesn't do anything.
um, so yeah, how much of your data is too much is basically the concern that everyone has. And what the main thing that was being brought up is that AI systems rely on massive amounts of personal data, and
Person,
are
really?
are we sacrificing our privacy for convenience?
I think so. I think a lot of people were, a lot of people will, just because like putting that trust in it.
Yeah, I mean, if it gives you better
If it,
answers
if it
depending on you.
like if it really improves your quality of life and like the easiness of whatever task, whether it's work or this or that, um, I think it's worth it.
I mean, if they come up with a medical bot that's like very consistent, and then it learns you as a person, that sounds worth it to me. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then replace doctors because it's not like they do anything anyway.
yeah.
They
Uh,
don't keep it simple at all,
but
man.
there's a lot of people that don't want their information, like another entity having
hmm
their whole personal data, and
Yeah,
like
there's
you
whole
have to,
companies that work on that, like getting rid of people's personal data online.
yeah. Does that work?
I don't know. I haven't tried it. I don't want to spend money on that kind of stuff. Just
They're
they're
gonna
gonna
take
have my
more.
information.
They're
Yeah,
gonna take more of it. They take the data and
yeah.
they keep it for
And
themselves.
that's like the weirdest thing about like data privacy people and like we'll search the web for you. It's like okay, but what if you get hacked?
That is,
I feel like they're bigger targets of being hacked.
yeah.
And I guess like NASA and the government have proven like no matter how hard you work, there's gonna be someone to hack into your stuff coming up with a new way anyway. Um,
From like where we are in the um technologically and where the internet is right now, full privacy I think is just this full privacy as it
oh,
was.
it's
I don't
gone.
know, 15 years ago. I don't think we have that anymore.
Definitely not.
But I
Yeah.
don't think it's dangerous. But what do I know? At the end of the day, I'm gonna come back to it.
Yeah,
I say
yeah.
my opinion, but then I'm like, it's not like
We'll look
my
into that
word
with a
means much.
professional
Yeah,
soon. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, oh, also, because me and Rafa are very simple dudes who like talking about simple conversations, in our future episodes, we're going to be bringing on people who actually deal with this kind of stuff
Mhm.
as their main career and their focus in life. So stay tuned. I swear to you, we're not just randomly going to be talking for the rest of ever. Also, tune in
That's
every
not too
week.
bad.
We'll be back. I mean, I
That's
don't
what.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, thanks for staying with us. I really appreciate you guys staying all the way to the end. I don't know if anyone's actually going to see this. Thank
they
you,
will. They
but we
will.
really appreciate you. See you next week, and thank you very much for tuning in to Keeping It Simple.